Episode 273. Diamacint and Lei are just kind of staring blankly ahead, not exactly posing dramatically for what's going to be the last episode of the Scholastica questline. I actually thought this would go on longer. I thought we were still on the patch, 3.3, 3.4 quests. It turns out the release schedule for this was, they released the introductory stuff in 3.1, and then missed a few patches and just had the next set in 3.4, which we already did. And we're already on the finale, basically, for the 3.5 set of quests. Come on guys, look excited. It's the finale. If Dia wasn't so insistent on helping the bastard, I'd have left him to find his own way out of this mess. The duck's kind of, hiding under his coat, maybe for warmth. And look at this, we get the Inspector's eyeglasses and the Spectacles emote. Unfortunately, it seems like those spectacles may be exactly the same as the ones we already have. I'm not entirely sure though. Maybe we'll see. If we could only track down the author of the letters and convince them to recant these statements, the student body would have no choice but to withdraw their motion. But where would we even search? Komori has no idea. I guess you're as stumped as we are. It's not as if we'd be able to glean any important clues from just these 4 slips of paper. Yeah, Komori's stumped. She's just a janitor. If this isn't enough, then let us begin by finding the rest of the letters. Perhaps they'll prove more enlightening. It's settled then. Let's return to the Scholasticate and commence our search. Let the students lead the way. That's Komori's style of teaching, especially when she has no idea how to teach them. I actually didn't have a plan for what else I would do this episode if we complete the Scholastica questline. When I was checking in on things on how far in I was, I didn't get a good sense of it, but I think there's only like 2 or 3 more quests, maybe even... I don't think this is the last one. A few of the seminarians were generous enough to lend us letters they received. Upon closer examination, it would appear that, while the overarching message is the same, the precise arguments may differ from letter to letter. Whatever could this mean? It means that whoever distributed them knows everyone pretty well, if that means anything. It would seem that more than a few of the students tossed the papers in the rubbish without so much as reading them. Thankfully, I was able to scavenge some of the ones that had been thrown away. And some of them just kinda tossed into the corner. Well, we're the janitor, it's our job to clean this stuff up. This one too. Gramavol. Dio has already apprised me of the situation. Not that he needed to, mind you. It is for that very reason that I remain behind with Blazy, to investigate the origin of these nasty rumors flying about. It didn't take long for us to connect the rumors to the letters and coax one of the seminarians to show us the document they had received. I investigated further, and behold, these are all of the ones that I managed to collect in my search thus far. Under normal circumstances, the basis in invectives penned here would hardly suffice to convince anyone. It would seem, however, years of harbored animosity have blinded people to their better judgment. So intense is the hostility towards our combatant that seminarians are desperately searching for any excuse to have him removed from the Scholasticate. These letters have proved just that, and at the worst possible time. Blazy? What about Janchette? She was introduced like during that cutscene alongside Blazy. She was standing in front of Blazy like when they were doing the whole roll call for all of the important characters. And even though we're basically in the finale, Janchette hasn't played really any role other than just kind of offering some stern words here and there. Suspicious letters? Whatever are you talking about? I've not received anything of the sort. Ah, are you completely uninvolved with the quest until the very end? No, she's not. Now that you mention it, however, I did observe some of the seminarians tossing out crumpled slips of paper. Mayhap these are the letters you seek. I wish I could be of more assistance, but I fear that this is the extent of my knowledge. Good luck in your search. Okay, it seems like she is mostly uninvolved. Oh, yes, in fact, Primarva and I have been gathering letters all morning. Feast your eyes on this. One of the girls said that the letter just showed up on her bed, as if out of nowhere. I returned to my quarters to check if I had received something similar, but there was nothing to be found. At first I thought it a simple oversight, but after asking around I learned that there were more than a few others who, like me, had been overlooked. Which leads us to the question, why is it that only certain seminarians are receiving the letters? What is it they have in common? Something in common, huh? I don't know. Again, I don't exactly remember the resolution to all of this, but we're getting there. Ah, Komoi, did your search prove fruitful? A flimsy slip of paper with hastily penned accusations written upon it, alleging that our competent day, the male, is responsible for Law's kidnapping. Nothing new there. Excellent. Let us take a closer look and see what we can discern. How curious. It would appear our culprit has gone through the trouble of writing and distributing 3 distinctly different versions of the letter. Oh, only 3. Thought they were like deeply personalized to each character. The first reads, as illustrated by the recent abduction that has taken place within these sacred halls, our combatant will stop at nothing to eliminate those who stand in its way. Such blatant disrespect of her teachings must not be tolerated. The second says, it is one thing to disagree with the opinions of your fellow seminarians. It is quite another to abuse one's influence and have your ideological opponents removed. Ula, a firm believer in the teachings of Volume 11 of the Articles of Hellenic Polity, and staunch advocate of equality, fell victim to our combatant's treachery. The villain cannot go unpunished. One's a bit more wordy. And last but not least, Ula's copy of Volume 11 was discovered in the prefect's room shortly after the girl's disappearance. This, more than anything, proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that our combatant is guilty. Do they know that? I don't think we told anyone. While the final letter at least offers an argument, it's hardly a compelling one. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but aren't there several copies of the Articles of Hellenic Polity sitting on our library shelves? Well, I can't speak to why our combatant would have one in the first place. The book found in his quarters could have been any one of those. Lazy, when you spoke with Ula earlier, did he mention anything about Volume 11? I didn't think anything of it at the time, but while Ula was recovering in the infirmary, she asked that I retrieve her copy from her room. When I went to look for it, it wasn't there. Which would mean that the tome was removed unbeknownst to her. Is how it would seem. After all, she testified that when the 2 thugs seized her at the marketplace, she had nothing on her person but a pocket of gil. Presumably, the book was still in her quarters then. It would be one thing if the book had disappeared with Ula, but for someone to sneak into her room and remove it after the fact, why, it's as if the culprit intended to use it to frame our combatant all along. Why, I'd bet my last skill you're right, and that's the reason none of us received a letter. We're the only people who would be able to confirm with Ula that the book had been pilfered from her room. But who would go to such great lengths to frame our combatant? That's Artzio, always striving to help his fellow man, and if that man is all that stands between him and the top of the class, it's enough to leave a girl smitten. isn't it, Blazy? Way to change the subject. What are you talking about? I'm not smitten. I just admire him for his kind heart is all. Blazy, why ever did she dash off like that? Has she taken ill? Yeah, that's the reason. In a manner of speaking, I'll go and make sure she's okay. Oh dear. Well, whatever it is, I hope she recovers quickly. In the meantime, we need to put our heads together if we hope to get out of this mess. Komoy, what do you think? Why would anyone go to such lengths, to implicate our combatant? 'Cause he sucks, that's why. We can't say that, though. But how do we want to respond as Komoy? Implicate himself or throw others off the scent? We'll just go with this one. This one is almost certainly like the wrong answer, obviously, but sometimes the wrong answer can be fun. I think based on my previous experience, we should just try to do this earnestly. But of course, none can save the kidnapper, him or herself, would have such a strong motive to concoct this convoluted plan. Which raises the possibility that the kidnapping was not but a plot to have our combatant expelled in the first place. All that just for our combatant? I guess so. Yeah, I guess Ulaw didn't really have anything to do with this entire thing other than Volume 11 and being involved with, what was his name? Kramerval. Was Kramerval's bid to participate in that one competition? It just seems like she's a uninvolved third party for the most part, so in retrospect it's a little bit weird, but yeah, it's all just looping back to framing one specific guy, I guess. In other words, if we track down the person behind these letters, we'll have ourselves the culprit behind Ulaw's abduction. We must inform Inspector Byardine straight away. He's currently conducting an investigation at the vault, you say? Let us make our way there with all speed. Anyone still around want to talk? Genchet, the only one remaining in the Scholastic hit. You know, she's going to be in the top 3 just because she kept her head down and in the books while everyone else was off solving mysteries or something, not learning. I wish I could be of more assistance, etc., etc. You could be, if you actually participated in the story. About typical weather for Ishgard, I guess. Ishgard and Britain seem kind of like they have similar weather to me. Probably snows more in Ishgard, though. A little bit more. Oh, wait. Oh, he's over here. Yeah, we talked about going to the vault. We're just meeting up over here first. I went a really long way around. Hang on. Can we even go this way? I was just trying to jump off the edge directly over here, but okay, we can jump off over here. Daisy's quicker than she looks. I gave up my search when it became evident I had no chance of finding her. I was just on my way back when lo and behold, who do I see but you three? Now, perfect vantage point from here. That's him, over there. We could have waited right outside of it, you know. But this is their favorite hangout spot, I guess. All the cool kids and all that. Not you, Briarden. You're neither a kid nor cool. Or is he? I don't know how young Briarden is by Eleven standards. It's always hard to tell with these types. Ah, it's you. What brings you all the way here? Do you have something to report? I see. Show me these letters. I shall determine if they are as suspicious as you insist. This is everything we've been able to find. This should be an emote that characters can have, player characters. Just holding up a piece of paper and looking at it. There's an emote for looking in a book, but I don't know, this one seems pretty simple and straightforward. Not like there's a huge market for holding a paper in front of your face, but I'm sure there are some players that'd want it. The author goes out of his way to mention that a lost copy of Volume 11 was found in our competence room. The fool. In his feeble plot to frame the prefect, he has only incriminated himself. Yeah, I thought that might be the smoking gun. Unfortunately, I'm embarrassed to say I'm not exactly on the same page. We know. Briarden knows. Arcombidon's little lackey, whose name I forget, also knows, but not Arcombidon. Of course, Ulan would know, and by extension, the people here who just talked about this sort of thing, I think. They were like a step behind us, but they got caught up, I guess. I trust that you two have put the pieces together. Oh no, don't ask us. Komor is just pretending. You have proven an able associate indeed. It is from here, however, that the real work begins. Should at any time you begin to feel your powers of concentration waver, or your attention to detail slip, you need but do this. Take a deep breath, and focus your eyes into the distance. In that moment, a solution will appear before you. The game is afoot, and if we intend to win the day, we must remain vigilant. Now let's get our man. Alright. If we're about to crack this case wide open, then I guess we should be wearing the inspector's glasses. Oh, gotta unlock them. Where are they? Oh wait, hang on. They're these, right? Because the history of this game is that these would have been how to say this? These headpieces, this slot didn't exist until pretty recently, I guess. And this was released, I guess, back in 3.1 or maybe later, I don't know. Or 3.5. I'm not sure if this was always the same reward from this quest. They might have added it in later. But when they added in this slot for eyewear so that people could wear hats and glasses at the same time, they made it so that everything that you could get as a headpiece, as glasses, could also be unlocked as a facewear piece, I guess. So for us to transfer this into facewear, we have to do something. I don't remember what. Hang on. I do want to wear these, but quickly, do they look any different? Let's do this, and then that, and then this. And then if we remove... Nope, not that. Zoom in there. And if we remove these glasses, they are different, but only like barely slightly. Let's see that again. The parts that changed were the rims, not the rims, well maybe the rims, and what would those be called? The stems, the ones that extend to the ears, I guess. They're not this sort of goldish dim goldish color, I guess. On our glasses, that is. Ours are all silver all around. And yeah, the frames sort of have that kind of pattern around. Yeah, we don't need this. Not in the slightest. And in fact, even if I wanted them, I could just put them on and not worry about unlocking the face square piece. But I think we just want it to be all silver to match the rest of our outfit, not clash with it. Sorry, Riordan, we're going with our own glasses. We do, however, accept your emote. Let's put it on that. Here. There, yeah. There should be a green thing right next to it. Unless I've already scrolled over it. Oh, there it is. That's not the emote I was expecting. It's supposed to be the same emote that Prioritian does. Like the, aha, I've solved it. And actually, the pose in the icon right there is a bit closer to what we should be seeing. But I think for Lalafell, they just do it a bit differently. Oh, I get it. This was, him talking about focusing on things in the distance. That was the... It's alluding to this spectacles emote. It's a fun little joke they're doing, I guess. Okay, that's enough of that. I think I missed something. Who exactly are we going after? I can see the connection, but how does this help deduce the identity of the perpetrator? I guess I'm on the same page as I... Inspector Prioritian truly is amazing. Why, he's cracked the case with little more than scattered scraps of evidence. Literally. Well, he has a bit more than that. He knows about the book, and I know about the book. But, Oh, and we also get this. But yeah, even knowing about the book, I'm still not putting two and two together. So you can dress up as a student, but only after you complete the entire questline, I guess. And you'd have to find your own pants and boots, I suppose, and gloves. I would have probably dressed up like this if I had this to start with. But I like the outfit I ended up with now a bit better. Role-playing the janitor and all that. It's been fun. Before we begin pursuing our man in earnest, answer me this. Can any of you tell me where Ulah's copy of Volume 11 currently is? The letters say it was found in our competence room, though for all we know, that could be complete and utter bollocks. Yeah, whoever wrote the letter expected people to already know about the book being around, or they didn't correct course after the book was never reported to be found or whatever. I'm not sure how that helps though. Gomoy, I see you've managed to keep your word to Le Passeur. Very good. Right, that was his name. A competent little lackey. Allow me to enlighten the rest of you. The tome is currently in my possession. Le Passeur discovered it in our competence room, and turned it over to us in secret for fear. In secret, for fear it would fuel the ongoing rumors. Now, knowing what you do, it is time to put your minds to the test. What do you surmise is the relationship between our talented writer friend and the thief that lifted the book from Ulah's quarters? If they were one and the same, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? Because the person who wrote the letter wouldn't write what they wrote. That doesn't make sense. That's what I think, but I could be very wrong about this. I think they're accomplices. A sensible deduction? Maybe I'm wrong. The planting of the book in our competence quarters and the subsequent distribution of these letters were both carried out to a common end, to implicate the prefect in Ulah's abduction and force his expulsion. It would stand to reason that the perpetrators are either working in tandem, or, in fact, are one and the same. He's not saying no and he's not saying yes, but I feel like he's leaning towards no. While that, in itself, does not reveal the identity of the culprit, it does lead us to our next question. Who would have been able to enter and exit Ulah's room unnoticed? The perpetrator was able to move quickly and not draw attention to themselves in the act, leading me to believe our book snatcher had easy access to all rooms within the dormitory. How, you might ask? Keys. Something only 3 people currently possess: Father Saturnois, and the prefects are Combedin and Lebrasseur. So one of them is the culprit, but which could it be? I feel like the dialogue choices are forcing us towards this. It could just be like a red herring, but I know, it was our Combedin. Think about it. It explains why he was so adamant in refusing our help. But what sense is there in him stealing the book when the only thing it would serve to do is implicate him in a crime he may not have even committed? And that leaves Lebrasseur as the only other person, aside from the inspector and Komoy who came into contact with the book. I'd say he's a prime suspect. It certainly is suspicious, but what motive could he possibly have? If only there was a way we could glean the answer. Komoy, I hear that you possess a great gift. When would you employ to reveal long-hidden truths about our nation? Might you not be able to use this power to shine some light on the matter at hand? We've already went over this. It's not used for deductions like this. That's cheating. So it is not yours to control. I guess that means we'll have need to rely on our own wits to obtain the answers we seek. Fortunately, I have an idea of my own, but I'll need your help to see it through. Well then, Theo, let us put this idea of yours into action. Last I heard, our Combedin and Lebrasseur have taken refuge in this male manor. Let's make our way there post-haste. I'll leave it to you to see that the bumblings of those 3 do not interfere with the final stage of my investigation at the vault. But do not tarry long. With Father Saturnois throwing his full support behind the petition, our Combedin has but a few bells before his name is permanently struck from the registry. I shall do what I can to see that the proceedings are delayed, but I cannot guarantee it will buy us all the time we need. Godspeed, Komoy. I'll see you at the hearing. So I felt like since the beginning, Father Saturnois was, well, I say from the beginning, I felt like I remembered when I was replaying here as Komoy that after a few interactions with Father Saturnois that he was somewhat involved with some of the plot. But like I said, I don't exactly remember the big end to this, so if he was like the one behind everything, I'm not sure if that's if that was something that would have been too obvious from the beginning or only at this final stage where he starts to show his true colors. Yeah, this whole kind of heel turn when we were talking about the petition with him and he had that kind of evil ambiance about him. But when he started having that whole villain speech or whatever, it seemed a little too obvious for him to be the big bad villain or something. Maybe it still is, I don't know. But then again, I could just be speaking from me remembering little bits and pieces from my main playthrough, and that's the reason why it's all quote-unquote obvious to me. It could just be perfectly reasonable deduction here for anyone going on their first time through. Maybe. Anyway. Whatever Theo's brilliant plan is, I certainly hope he took this into account. Again, I wouldn't take this kind of treatment sitting down. Yeah, more trouble in paradise. Looks like they're at it again. What are we to do? As you can see, our Combedin and I are discussing important matters at the moment. If you have something to report, may return later. Findings? Huh. As if anything you four managed to dig up can help me now. The hearing is about to begin. My fate is as good as sealed. There's still time, my combatant. Earlier you pledged your innocence to us. Let us pledge it once more. At the hearing before one and all. The truth shall speak for itself. The truth? You expect those fools to see the truth when this evidence to the contrary is staring them in the face? How do you think this plan your pea-sized brain, or your pea-sized minds have concocted, will succeed where all Lebersor's best attempts have failed? We will succeed, O combatant, for it is not just I that stands with you, but the hero who brought to light the truth behind our very nation. Yes, there is nothing that she has not seen. Surely you understand the implications of this, don't you, Lebersor? Pretty interesting play. I thought the Omniscient was like, just kind of earnest and maybe a bit stupid, but I didn't think he had this in him. Komoi has the ability to peer into events of the past. Indeed, it was through her visions that Ishgard's true origins were brought to light. You need say no more. She has already used her vaunted power to see that I was the one behind it all. Okay, there's a little bit of intrigue at the very end here. It's not just straightforward. But it's also not just this. Yes, it was I that kidnapped Ulaw. It was I that snuck into her room and stole Volume 11. And it was I that distributed the letters. Also that I might implicate a combatant. How satisfying it is to finally be able to say it aloud. For so long, I have had to plot my revenge in silence, and mask my hatred of you with hollow praise and bashful smiles. Lebersor, what madness is this you speak? You truly are oblivious, aren't you? Then allow me to enlighten you. After all the transgressions your family has committed against mine, did you truly think I would remain loyal to you? For centuries your house has humiliated us. It was something we'd come to accept. But when the wall between the nobility and the common class came tumbling down, we were met with the most harrowing truth of all. That all our suffering had been for naught. Everything we grew up believing about our status was a fabrication. Tall tales spun to keep us complacent. In reality, you're no better than the two broom rats beside you. You never were. It was a terrible realization, but one that also gave me hope. Hope that you could be taken down just as any other. That's when I began plotting. Ulaw's abduction, the letters and the rumors they spurred. All was part of my master plan. To bring shame and dishonor on you and your family, as you have mine. I have staked everything. Yes, even my very freedom, but it was worth it to give you a taste of our pain. What's more, I bribed the two kidnappers into abducting Ulaw with money from your purse. And having entrusted the management of your finances to me, you never suspected a thing. Lebersor, I can only imagine the pain you have endured, but to seek revenge in this way. Nevertheless, I thank you for confessing your crimes. Now we can absolve a combatant to the false charges brought against him. Wait a minute. You mean that she didn't actually see into the past? You deceived me. If you'll recall, Theo never explicitly said that Komoi had a vision of what happened to Ulaw. He merely observed that she possesses such an ability. But I mean, he was basically lying. He could have lied and it would have been no different. I mean, maybe there's some kind of Ishgardian law about that. Like the whole thing about testimony under duress or something. But still, he was lying, like a sneaky cheat, and I respect him for it. Truth be told, it is not even a power that can be controlled at will. Now then, our combatant, I suppose that's all the proof of innocence you'll need. Let's escort Lebersor to the hearing, and have him repeat his most dramatic confession before the headmistress. I never saw it. The hatred, I mean. How could I have been so blind? We've been friends from childhood, and never for a moment did I question his loyalty. What a fool I was. However did I think that I could stand at the forefront of our nation, when I was so oblivious to that which was happening under my very nose? Our combatant, pray do not torture yourself so. Rather open your heart, and allow Halone's wisdom to set you free. Once you come to see Leversor not only as your friend, but as your peer, I promise that the both of you will find a way to mend any bonds that have been broken. It's kind of in character for Theo, basically a pastor in training to be someone that can absolve other people of their sins. Still believing that even this criminal can move past this eventually and make amends. Quote-unquote, criminal. Of the Fury's love will all men receive, and by the balance of her spear will all be set free. You truly believe these words, don't you? You cling to them even when reality does all it can to prove you wrong. I suppose it is that unwavering face that your friends find so endearing. Now then, it is time for me to put my own face to the test, and face my fate head on. May the Fury have mercy. So what are we waiting around here for? We have a hearing to attend. I'll meet you two there. There is something I must confirm with the inspector first. Komoy, I cannot shake the feeling that this affair runs far deeper than any of us could have imagined. If you would, please accompany our combatant to his hearing, and see to it that nothing goes awry in my absence. Okay, I guess Dio's like one step ahead then. I was wondering because he was doing the whole lying thing to get this quote-unquote confession out of... What's his name again? Can't believe I'm forgetting his name again. Leversor, that's right. And we got the confession, like, it was weird, that he believed that we were actually peering into the past, and if we actually did peer into the past, well, maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Did you see any of that? No. She doesn't care. Over where? Scholastica Deacon, so... Scholastica, right. I'm sure they were going to explain everything, like every single step to this whole plot in this final cutscene, I guess. I assume this is going to be the final cutscene. It seems like the big confrontation. This is where Briarden said things would go down, I think. I must say, Master Leversor, that I'm extremely disappointed that anyone, much less a student of our upstanding establishment, would commit such atrocities. I am truly at a loss for words. Headmistress Elvion, if I may, do you not find the timing of these confessions to be incredibly convenient? It's as if Master Leversor here has been coerced into admitting two crimes he himself did not commit. Let us not rush to condemn a man who may very well be innocent. We must also keep in mind that this incident will have repercussions that extend beyond the Scholasticate. Distrust of our church has never been so high. If we were to expel either one of our prefects, both of whom have strong ties to House Amail, we will lose any credibility our establishment still has in the eyes of its citizens. To this end, I would propose an alternative plan. We will make a full disclosure of the scandal to the public, together with an announcement that St. Endelim's Scholasticate will temporarily be closed. It is past time we pushed for a full reformation of the school and its curriculum. That's not what he was originally planning, or at least not what he told us. And there it is, the confession I've been waiting for. Confession? Master Biodian, explain yourself. From the start, I had my suspicions that someone was pulling strings behind the scenes. Someone who had secured a high enough position within the clergy to manipulate the students and the system. I poured through records, closely examining any who fit this description. It was no easy task, but I finally found what I was searching for. And combined with the confession of the Omniscient, or the confession the Omniscient obtained from the Basur, I was able to uncover the true culprit. I speak of you, Saturnor, and I do not call you father, for you are no priest. The documents admitting you into your current position were all forged. You manipulated the Basur into carrying out what you yourself could not. You stirred up discord amongst students, and fomented the people's distrust of the clergy, in the hopes of creating an even greater rift between the people of Ishgard and the clergy, all in the hopes of seeing the Scholasticate closed down, once and for all. That was his ultimate goal? Didn't really pick up on that. Why? Why? I guess he's about to explain it to us. But I don't understand. Why would Father Saturnor seek the ruin of the Scholasticate? The answer to that would lie in his past. Over a decade ago, Saturnor graduated top of his class, and was welcomed into the ranks of the Holy See. It was there he was assigned work as an how do you pronounce that? Expurgator, maybe? Expurgator? Expurgator? What are you talking about? How do you pronounce that? In all my years serving the Holy See, I've never heard of such a post, or a word. I would be more surprised if you had, her holy body of decency, a sector that is comprised of a few select individuals, is perhaps the best kept of Ishgard's many secrets. Its existence known only to a handful of people, beside the Archbishop himself. I am impressed, Master Biodian. It would seem your reputation is well deserved, though I must correct you on one account. I am no expurgator, but rather one of the so-called watchmen consigned to guard them. That said, we shared a similar fate. Both expurgator and watchmen alike were struck from official records, and confined in the bowels of the Holy See, damned to live out our lives in the shadows, as pallid husks of the men and women we could have been, all so that someday we might fulfill one task. Where written records were deemed too dangerous, expurgators would serve as living documents, orally passing down our nation's greatest secrets. When the time came for the Archbishop's successor to ascend to the throne, we would briefly emerge from our isolation, to pass from our mouths to their ears all we knew of Ishgard, before sinking back into obscurity. Some reward for becoming top 3 in your class. But of course no highborn man or woman would be condemned to this fate. No, this was a destiny reserved for commoners, orphans with no ties to the world above. 7 hells. So if the truth hadn't come to light, Theo and I. Men and women forced to sacrifice their own lives, that our nation's darkest secrets might be preserved forever unbeknownst to her people. I can scarce believe my ears. She seems pretty high-ranking, like she might know this, but at the end of the day, I guess she's just a school principal or something. Father Saturnwall, the friend you spoke of. Yes, he was an expurgator. Such anguish did his duties cause him that he chose death over that wretched excuse for a life. And while the new era is upon us, one that does not condemn the innocent to a life of despair for the sake of one man, it does not undo the justice of 1,000 years. It was to right the wrongs of the past that I escaped that foul dungeon and made my way back to the place where it all began. This twisted institution, the place responsible for stealing the bright futures of young orphans, needs to be closed down for good. It was a place where those orphans were, I guess, raised up to become what they needed to be for I guess, the government. But it doesn't sound like the school knew, for the most part. Even the people before the current headmistress's time, I think. It just sounds like the school was being used, but I don't know. Father Saturnwall, your actions are heinous, and I can in no way condone them. That said, if there is truth to what you say, perhaps it would be best for us to suspend all lessons until we can reach a consensus as to how we might proceed. But Headmistress Elvion, would not closing down the Scholasticate be akin to evading our responsibility as men and women of the clergy? That sounds like a question, but it doesn't end in a question mark. It is our duty to speak the truth, not bury it. For too long the people have been fed naught but lies. It is time we took the initiative and gave them reason to put their faith in us once more. I must agree with the omniscient. As I have learned firsthand, we must take care never to abuse our power and privilege, lest we hurt the people closest to us. To keep silent would be to repeat the mistakes of our past. The only way we can move forward is to take responsibility for our actions, and make an earnest effort to reach out to those we have wronged. While we may never receive forgiveness, at least we can attempt to atone for any anguish we may have caused those that did not deserve it. If it is true that all men are born equal, as I have heard so many in this room preach time and time again, then all are entitled to know the truth. Let us lead by example, and freely share all that we have learned here today. Father Saturnwall, while I cannot pretend to understand your ordeal, or soothe the fury that has taken hold in your heart, I can promise you one thing. I swear, on Father Corso's copy of the Parables of St. Danathan, that not you, nor any of those who shared your fate, will ever again be forgotten. Thus was all laid bare before the public, the atrocities suffered by expurgator and watchmen alike, along with the hand the Scholasticate and the Holy See had in their terrible demise, revealed to all of Ishgard by the deacon herself. So it was that a new path was forged that day, one that would see a renewed face in the Church and its teachings, where the citizens would come to learn that all men should be regarded as equal not only in the eyes of Alone, but also by one another. Those parts always go by pretty quickly, kind of have to read ahead and read quickly. Okay. I think it was still kind of straightforward that it was basically Saturnor in the end, but the extra wrinkle that they add at the very end was, again, forgetting his name. Lebrasaur? Lebrasaur, right? It's Lebrasaur, I'm sure. Yeah, it's Lebrasaur. The extra wrinkle with Lebrasaur does kind of add a bit more, I guess, to the intrigue of the whole plotline. Because when Saturnor in the last episode kind of does a heel turn and all that, it just feels like it points everything in his direction a bit too much. And I guess when Lebrasaur was, quote-unquote confessing, he was covering for Saturnor a little bit. It read to me a little bit, just like mistakenly, as he was covering for what's his name? All these names. Covering for Arcombodin in the end, that he was trying to take the blame so that Arcombodin wouldn't take the fall. But I guess he wasn't trying to take the fall for Arcombodin in the end. He really did genuinely hate the guy. I was kind of wondering if maybe that was like just him at the very end lying so that again he could take the fall, but he did actually genuinely believe that we saw into the past and that we saw him steal the book or plant the book or something. But then that was the whole thing I was getting at before. If he was just trying to cover for Arcombodin back in the cutscene over by Dismail Manor, then it wouldn't make sense that he actually believed that we saw the past as genuinely as he seemed to believe that he was fooled by Thiamasint's little ploy. And if we did actually see the past, we would have seen that he didn't do that if he was actually lying, like I thought he might have been. But right. It was actually two accomplices the whole time. When I answered that it might have been accomplices, I wasn't actually sure that Lebrasaur was involved. I thought he wanted us to keep quiet when he gave us the book, like, legitimately, when that whole thing happened, but when he gave us that book, I guess he expected us to leak it all, like, completely to everyone. That was the plan. But then there was maybe some kind of miscommunication and the whole book thing didn't really spread around, and when the letters were penned, I guess, it just didn't realize the book hadn't really been known to the public ear or been known to the entire Scholasticate that it was found in his room. I'm not sure why they didn't though. It feels like at least either one of those characters should have known and maybe communicated it to each other. I might just be missing something else here, but that's just the one thing about this. It's just the kind of story that's told in little bursts of story like this between several months between where the patches are actually released. So I guess there are maybe sometimes holes like that if this is actually a hole. I don't know if it is. Overall though, I still like the story. Theo is a born detective. He told me that he went to speak with the inspector because he thought it suspicious that Father Saturnor was pushing so hard to have Arcombodin expelled. Sure enough, it turned out that he was the one pulling the strings all along. Well, I'm glad this ordeal is finally behind us, and I cannot help but feel as though we lost one of our own. We share the same origins as Father Saturnor, and would have shared the same fate had it not been for you. Komoi, thank you for restoring peace to the Scholasticate. You have reminded us that there is a world beyond these doors that relies as much upon us as we do them. You have opened our eyes and shown us that destiny is but the choices we make. If we are strong and persevere, I have no doubt that we can rebuild the Scholasticate and regain the people's trust. Komoi, now that your work here is done, I suppose the time for farewell is upon us. Will you be departing Ishgard immediately? It's sad to say farewell, but let's send you and the inspector off in style. there is my trusted associate. I feared I might not be able to bid you a proper farewell before I left. On behalf of my uncle, allow me to thank you for all your hard work. Seems like the sun is rising. It's kind of appropriate. New dawn. There's still so much fighting and bickering going on. Couldn't you stay with us for just a bit longer? I fear there are more pressing mysteries that demand my attention. Not to mention a certain young lady in Olda, who awaits my return. Yeah, the whole, Ellie thing from the Hildebrand questline. Is she getting out of prison soon? I don't know how the passage of time works. Oh, another client of yours, I take it. Theo, is your head screwed on backwards? He's talking about is... Tactless fools, the both of you. But I suppose you're nothing if not sincere. Hey, Theo. And while I'll admit that naivety is one of your more endearing traits, combined with the blunderings of the idiot beside you, this guy's our friend now, apparently, and he's still bullying us. I guess that's good? Yeah, the good kind of bullying. It's like as not to bring the Scholastica to ruin. That's why you'll need someone with extensive knowledge of the affairs of Ishgard, and the proper connections to actually bring about the change you seek. Someone like me. The words of a man looking to steal his way into our dear Theo's heart. Lazy, Lay. It seems like you've got competition. Wow, incredible. This whole time. Blazy was obvious, and I guess Lay was, there too. I guess you could kind of suspect him. But even or competent? What would that even be called? A love quadrangle? I guess so. Unless anyone else wants to get in on this. Maybe some dark horse that's been in the background this entire time. Maybe John Chet. Maybe that's her role in this entire questline, to secretly pine after Theo, without ever actually revealing it to anyone including the player character. Nah, not her. The fury take you all. Call me what you will, but Theo would never replace me with anyone, much less a conniving snake like our combatant. Oh. Lay, I don't think you picked up on... Well, no, this is fine. Maybe he did pick up on it, just saying that he wants to win Theo's hand in marriage, to everyone here. Haha, how refreshing it is to hear such playful banter among my friends. Really, Theo? Friends? They all want to be more than that, can't you see? It would seem our worries are finally behind us. Before we celebrate, however, there is one last thing. Blazy, I'd like to thank you for your support. Were it not for your meticulous notes and sharp eyes, Ula would still be missing. And the sun rises right on cue. Komoy, Inspector, words are not enough to express our gratitude. It was only because of you that we were unable to unmask the perpetrator and restore peace to our school. Just as Father Koiso brought you to us in Gorgania Mills, I cannot help but feel that Halone guided you to us in our time of need. We hope to one day repay the kindness you have shown us by rebuilding the Scholasticate. When next you visit, we hope she will have retaken her place as the nation's top establishment of higher learning, and once again serve to light the people's way back to the halls of Halone. Our fair nation has seen her share of tragedy and turmoil, but I take heart in knowing that there are those such as yourself to watch over her and see that she does not stray from her course. Till we meet again. And there we are, reaching the end of the Scholastica quest line almost exactly on time. We'll put that uniform in our glamour dresser later. Might as well end the episode over here in the one room that we get to see of the Scholastica. For old time's sake. Oh, and I guess we can have a little epilogue with everyone. There's John Chat, just kind of off on her own. Oh, and Ula actually gets to be part of this. Thanks to you, the teachings of Volume 11 are closer than ever to being achieved. The misfortune we encountered here at the Scholastica was the catalyst we needed to bring about the necessary change, and I can say with confidence, was Salone's will. Komoy, how go your adventures, since I last saw you, a few minutes ago? I've had a few of my own, all of which have involved keeping Theo out of trouble. The only good thing about having our combatant around is that he somehow manages to sense trouble before it happens. Welcome back, Komoy. You won't believe how much the Scholastica has changed. In such a short time, the somber atmosphere that hovered over the Scholastica has been replaced by radiant joy, and not a single day goes by that these halls aren't filled with the jubilant laughter of seminarians. Komoy, how wonderful of you to come visit. We've been working to reform the foundation of our current school system, and curriculum and things here have seen great improvement. Every day I feel as though I'm moving a step closer to achieving my dreams and bringing about the change Father Koiso had hoped Ishgard would one day embrace. Oh, Komoy, with everyone working so well together to make the Scholastica a better place, Theo has never been happier. His smile grows more radiant by the day, and with each passing week, I come to admire him all the more. Recently, Blazy and I started talking again, after opening up to her about how much her silence hurt me. We reconnected and now our friendship is stronger than ever. There's just one teensy problem. You see, the Omniscient is completely oblivious to how Blazy feels about him, but she's too shy to admit anything. The two of them are so frustrating to watch. Maybe someday. Ever since the inconsistencies in Ishgard's history and the Church's teachings were brought to light, I feared it to be the end of an era and by extension the Scholastica. Komoy, I cannot tell you how wrong I was. If anything, our fine establishment flourished in the aftermath and, with the help of our dedicated students, will continue to do so. Ah, Madame Moriko, to what do we owe the pleasure? The students will no doubt be delighted to see you. So if you feel so inclined, please take the time to go and speak with them. What became of Father Saturnal? All those who had a hand in the recent disturbance are currently in Temple Knight custody, and are awaiting trial. I can only hope that they will use this time wisely, and reflect upon their conduct. Saturnal especially need do so. While there is no denying the grave transgressions committed by our institution, or the hardship he endured, that does not make his actions any more acceptable. Not only did he cause undue distress, but he has tainted the mind of one of our most promising students. He is the one who exacerbated Levasor's growing discontent, which he then used to achieve his own ends. Furthermore, he recently received news that Saturnor attempted to escape from his holding room, wounding several guards in the process and adding to his crimes. Didn't go quietly. While some may argue that he too is a victim driven past the brink of sanity, and must not be prosecuted so harshly, others are not so lenient. Unfortunately, there is no easy answer to any of this. It seems all we can do at this point is await the results of his trial. Should by some miracle his sentence be reduced, and he demonstrates his willingness to truly rededicate his life to the Fury, the Omniscient and a few other seminarians have announced their intention to welcome Saturnor back to the Scholastica. Really? Wow. It is a day I sincerely look forward to. It sounds like it's kind of a gray area that they're leaving this out on, because I don't think this moves past this point no matter how far you get in the game. but they do kind of give a silver lining that maybe there is a future for him back here in the Scholasticate. Kind of interesting. I paid a visit to Levasseur soon after he was escorted off Scholasticate grounds by Temple Knights. He refused to even acknowledge my presence. It will take a great deal of time for me to gain his forgiveness. In the meantime, I shall do what I can to see the Scholasticate's reputation is restored. Together with Theo, I feel we will be able to pave the path toward a brighter future for all seminarians here. And these guys. These nameless, but I guess involved NPCs that were there every step of the way. Lately, one of the seniors who had made it his life's mission to observe and criticize everything I do has become almost cordial. Where before, I would have to endure one-sided lectures. Now we have actual conversations. I must say, this change has made me more receptive to what he has to say, and every day my respect for him grows. Good for you. The history we were taught growing up was all a lie. The priest and mentor I had come to respect the most was a fraud. Levasseur was never loyal to the Zemails, and now our Combadin and Theomacint are practically joined at the hip. It's as if the world's gone mad. Yeah, from a nameless NPC's perspective, who did nothing but stand by the sidelines, I guess it is pretty crazy. But perhaps a little madness was just what I needed. For all these changes have made me realize how narrow-minded and set in my own ways I was. From now on, I shall endeavor to be more accommodating and accepting of others' ideas and opinions. Yeah, this guy kind of led the charge of signing the petition, but I guess even he has some character development. And last but certainly least, Jean Chet, who did nothing despite being introduced in the opening cutscene. As some important character, maybe. If it isn't Gomoy, what brings you back to our halls? If it's out of concern that you've decided to pay a visit, allow me to put your worries to rest. The Scholasticate has never been better. Ever since Theo and our Combadin set aside their differences and learned to work together, the students have been able to freely express their opinions without fear of retribution. It's opened up the floor for some very interesting conversations, to say the least. Really interesting conversations? You, who has never talked to anyone about anything important. Okay. Maybe sometime in the future in some random expansion when they decide to randomly revisit the Scholasticate questline, they'll actually allow Jean Chet to be involved. But as of now, this is where she remains. And will remain over here, I guess, for the end of the episode. The end of our adventure in the Scholasticate. Starting next episode, I guess I'll have to find something else to do, but for now, it'd be a good chance to take a break.